take a look around at these canvases. Nothing like Newbury Street, that's for certain.
Dear God.
Here, Thurber, you've gone quite pale. You're telling this is distressing you. We can talk about something else, you know.
No, Elliot, it's fine. Just remembering those paintings. God, those paintings.
Well, what were they like?
There's really no use in me trying to tell you what they were like because the loathsomeness and unbelievable moral decay came from simple touches, quite beyond the power of words to classify.
Well, do try.
Well, there was none of the exotic technique you see in a Sidney Lumet or Saturnian weirdness of a Clark Ashton Smith. The backgrounds were mostly old churchyards, deep woods, cliffs by the sea, brick tunnels, ancient paneled rooms, or simple vaults of masonry. Copp's Hill Cemetery was a favorite scene. The madness and monstrosity lay in the figures in the foreground, for Pickman's morbid art was mainly one of demonic portraiture. These figures are seldom completely human, but often approach humanity in varying degrees. Most of the bodies, two-legged, had a forward slumping and vaguely canine cast. The texture of the majority was a kind of unpleasant rubberiness. Ugh, I can see them now.
What were they doing in these paintings?
Well, don't ask me to be too precise. They were usually feeding. I won't say on what. They were sometimes shown in groups in cemeteries or underground passages, and often appeared to be in battle over their prey, or rather their treasure trove. And what damnable expressiveness Pickman sometimes gave the sightless faces of their lifeless prey. Occasionally the things were shown leaping through open windows at night. One canvas showed a ring of them baying about a hanged witch on Gallows Hill, whose dead face held a close kinship to theirs.
Certainly that sounds morbid, but really, I've seen such work before, and so have you, old boy.
Don't get the idea that all these hideous themes and settings which struck me faint. It was the faces, Elliot. The faces that leered and slavered out of the canvas with the very breath of life. There was one called The Lesson. Listen, can you imagine a squatting circle of nameless dog-like ghouls teaching a small child how to feed like themselves? He had awakened the fires of hell in Pigment.
Thurber, I must say I feel honored by your speechlessness. I know that you're not easily knocked out. For my work to affect you so is quite a compliment.
Yes, well, you've turned colonial New England into a sort of annex of hell. I think I'm starting to get my wind back, though. These are breathtaking.
Ah, well, let me take you into this chamber and bring you into our own century and see how steady your breath remains.
It's...
Oh yes, that one is called Subway Accident. That is the Boston Street subway platform that the ghouls are clambering up onto. I like to imagine that there is a secret catacomb beneath the platform from which they're issuing.
Those poor souls, attacked and devoured while they wait for their train.
Delicious, isn't it? I get a real chuckle out of that one. Here, come see this one over here. This one is more deliberately humorous.
Your hideous subjects seem to find something funny. Whatever it is, it's in that book the main one is holding. Actually, that book looks rather familiar. What is it supposed to be?
Excellent catch. So glad you caught it. That's the Barnes & Crowley Boston Guidebook. The title of this piece is Holmes, Lowell, and Longfellow Lie Buried in Mount Auburn.
I'm sorry, Pickman, I feel out of the joke.
Well, you know, those are famous poets. Ghouls don't only feast upon the living, you know.
Oh, that's repellent.
Now you get it. How grand. What do you think of my collection so far?
To be honest, Pikmin, you must be a relentless enemy of all mankind to take such glee in the torture of the brain and flesh.
Perhaps. Go on.
However, having said that the main reason they terrify is by virtue of their very greatness, this is the art that convinces. When I see the pictures, I see the demons themselves, and I'm afraid of them.
Oh, your words warm my heart, Thurber. I try not to rely on the crutches of distortion or blurriness. I don't want to conventionalize or use mere bizarre imagery to get my points across.
Indeed. Your lines are sharp and lifelike. The details are almost painfully defined. And the faces. That's it, isn't it? You're not a fantasist or a romanticist at all. You're a thorough, painstaking, and almost scientific realist.
Oh, you're just flattering me now. Come down cellar now and see my actual studio. Hold up a moment, I need to turn on the flashlight. There, have a glance around.
What's that round thing in the corner?
It's an old well. Good, solid 17th century workmanship. It's nearly 5 feet across and its walls are a foot thick. It's one of those things I was telling you about, an aperture into the network of tunnels that used to undermine the hill. I discovered that it wasn't bricked up, so I just keep that wooden disc on it as a cover.
God, man. These unfinished pictures are as ghastly as the finished ones upstairs. I say, what is that? A camera?
Yes, I use that for taking scenes for backgrounds. That way, I can paint from them here instead of carting my outfit all about town for this view or that. I tell you, a photograph is just as good as a scene or a model for sustained work. I use it all the time.
Your attention to detail is terrifying.
I'm just working on this one now. Come and see.
Huh? Ah! Merciful heaven! How much is real and how much is feverish fancy? It doesn't seem right that Earth can hold a dream like that. What is that nameless blasphemy clutching at that thing that used to be a man?
It's as you said, a nameless blasphemy.
Look at how it gnaws at his head, the way a child nibbles a stick of candy. I feel like any moment it might drop its prey to seek out a livelier morsel.
That's exactly how you're supposed to feel, old boy.
What's this paper in the corner? A photo of your damnable background?
Shh! Thurber!
What? What is it?
Shh! Is that a pistol? Good God, man, hush! Come on out in the hallway. Wait here. Oh, no, dear God! Ugh. Damn bloated rats down that well. The deuce knows what they eat, Thurber. Those tunnels touch on Graveyard, Witch Den, and Seacoast. Whatever it is, they must have run out because they were devilish anxious to get out. Your little shout must have stirred them up. I think that's enough adventure for one night. What do you say, old man?
Quite. Well, Elliot, Pikmin had promised to show me the place, and heaven knows he'd done it. He led me back through those tangled alleyways in what seemed to be a different direction than one we'd come. Pikmin left me at the corner of Joy Street, where I turned off, and I never spoke to him again.
So is that why you dropped him? Seems a bit thin.
Don't be impatient. I need a cup of coffee. I've had plenty of this other stuff.
All right, stay put. Here.
Bless you.
So, it was the paintings that made you drop him.
No, it wasn't the paintings, no. I swear they were enough to get him ostracized in 9/10 of the homes and clubs in Boston. They're not even why I steer clear of the subway and cellars.
So then what in bloody hell was it?
It was something I found in my coat pocket the next morning. Remember the photo I found tacked onto the frightful canvas? The one I thought was one of a scene for the background of the painting.
Yes?
That bit of paper was the real reason I dropped Pickman. Richard Upton Pickman, the greatest artist I'd ever known and the foulest being that ever leapt the bounds of life into the pits of